ご覧のスポンサーの提供でお送りします。
Hey guys, Kakarot197 again. This time with an unboxing of the Master Grade Dom from the original Gundam series. Brought to you by my favorite online hobby store, Hobbylink Japan. Links to buy your own deadly hovercraft down below. And this is the part where I usually say that it has a very nice cover art, but I just can't really get into it. It just feels very staticky. Rather than having the feeling of the DOMs coming at me, it feels more like a police officer with like his baton telling me like, stop, don't come closer, stay where you are. Or like a traffic officer trying to guide me with his baton like, no, stop, you can't go any further. So yeah, if they release a 2.0, I look forward to seeing a more lively box art, I guess I should say. It's not that it's bad, it's just very static. Also, the one final thing we definitely gotta have a look at on the cover is the date. 1999. This is a pretty old thing. And so when we have a look at the side, it shows us the inner frame of the leg. Then on the other side, it shows us the inner frame of the head, and then it shows us the cockpit. Knowing these older model kits, that might actually be all of the inner frame we're getting. The hand is very complex for 1999. That's almost like 2.0 styled hands with like actually jointed knuckles. That's, again, really good. We get a figure of the pilot Ortega. I always thought it was Ortega. And then back on this side, we get to see him fully armed up, and that's not even everything that he comes with. Look at that arsenal. Honestly, this might be an old kit from 1999, but those weapons make it worth it. Especially considering the fact that this is the only way to get this amazing Raketen bazooka. So let's open this thing up and see what's hiding inside. And immediately on the A runner, we get a couple of signs of an old Master Grade. When we have a look at the clear parts here, the first thing that stood out to me was that this part here, which is for the scattering beam gun on his chest, should have been a translucent yellow, but is instead completely translucent. Now, the good thing is that if you want to paint it, you can just paint it in whatever color you want. So it's a bit give and take. Also, there is no sticker to put on this, so either you leave it clear or you paint it. The second giveaway then that we're dealing with an older Master Grade is that these fingers here are polycap material. Some of you probably got a heart attack hearing that. Not only are we dealing with movable hands here, but this is all polycap material. The rest is kind of your standard fare. Then on the B runner, we get another kind of sign that we're dealing with an older Master Grade. You can see that these parts don't really have a lot of surface detailing on them, and also we're getting a few big chunks. You're going to see that returning quite a bit on the next few runners. On the C runner then, we get the first few traces of an inner frame, and this might actually make you believe that we're dealing with a modern Master Grade because the level of detailing is about the same. All kidding aside, one unfortunate thing is that the handle of the bazooka won't move, but it does have a tiny little peg that will click into the hands. Although looking at the size of that thing, I'm not sure how much that is going to help. The D runner then gives us some red internal detailing in addition to that part of the face. On the E runner then, we again get some large chunks. And the same can kind of be said about the F runner. Some big chunks for the outside that don't really have a lot of detail, but then some things for the inside which have a surprising amount of detail. Like the contrast between this and that is pretty surprising. Next up then is the G runner, and this is without a doubt my favorite runner of this whole kit. It has the Raketen bazooka, and when you look at it, this is actually, by modern standards, pretty damn acceptable. It's got a movable handle, it's got a removable ammo cartridge, and just this blast shield, I don't know why, but it adds a really cool aspect to it as well. And in addition to that, it has, again, a few big parts for our dome. On to the H runner then, which consists of just 4 parts for those thick legs. And on the I runner, we get the best example of how good modern kits have gotten. Look at the detail, or in this case, I should say lack of detail on the pilot figure. If I didn't tell you that this was a Zeon figure, you wouldn't have been able to tell. Whereas on modern pilot figures, even though they're so small, you can actually easily tell the difference between Federation and Zeon pilots if you know what they look like in the first place. Then we get 2 J runners, giving us the rest of the somewhat limited inner frame that this thing comes with. Then we get 2 K runners consisting of entirely arm parts, and as you've probably been able to tell, those arms are not going to have an inner frame. And then the L runner again shows us why I kinda joked about this set being a weapon set with a dome included. The detail here is impeccable, because just compare the level of detail they put into the weapons as opposed to the kinda bland mobile suit itself. Then the M runner is a relatively small polycap runner, but don't worry, there is a much bigger polycap runner included as well. Again, we are dealing with an older master grade. But one cool thing these older master grades did sometimes have was a nicely detailed, bigger pilot figure, which the box listed as Ortega. And for anyone wondering where you can get the other 2 Black TriStar members, they are included with the 1.0 Zaku 1 Black TriStar version and the 1.0 Zaku 2 High Mobility type, again, of course, the Black TriStar version. Of course, no master grade would be complete without some peel-off marking stickers, which I already showed, and some rub transfer marking stickers. Again, another way of telling that you're dealing with an older one, because typically newer master grades, especially for dealing with Virgin Kotokis, do tend to come with more of them. And then the final included thing, other than the manual, is this included cardboard picture of the dome. I've said it many times before, but I really liked it when they did this, because I do actually have some of these cardboard pictures on my wall. And then finally, let's have a look at what the manual has to tell us. I really did like this style of cover. It's quite sober, but it also feels a bit more militaristic, like we're actually dealing with like a real life thing here. And then the amount of detail that the manual goes into, I love it. And nowadays we are making kind of a trade-off with our manuals. Yes, we are getting an English translation for all of that super cool extra information that we're getting, but I feel like we are getting less information in the master grade manuals nowadays. And it's always just a lot of fun looking at those sketches while you're building the model kit. And they even went through the trouble of giving like the individual parts model numbers. Then in the middle, we get some more information about the history of it, tactic, felt, and maybe I just haven't built any of these older Xeon master grades in a while, but did they always have the titles in German about like the history of the machine? Anyways, we get more information about the history with appropriate German titles. We get some more information on the markings we can use, the weapons, the pilot, again listed as Ortega, even though the katakana actually lists him as correctly Ortega. So I'm not sure where they got Ortega. Also, they forgot to capitalize his name. And when we look further, we just get more of that amazing looking art, in addition to a picture of the Black Tri-Stars in figure version, all painted up. And then on the back, we just get a rear view of our Dom. And that is all we're getting for our pretty big and bulky Dom. And now, despite being a master grade, I don't think it's going to take that long to build with all of those big chunky parts. But regardless, I'm going to start building this thing right away, because I am really curious what the articulation of this thing is going to be like. If you want to buy one for yourself, there is a link down below. And as always, a big thank you to the Patreon supporters. I hope everyone watching has a great day, and I'll see you all tomorrow with a review of this thing.